The alarms screamed through the station like dying animals. Commander Tay gripped the railing of the observation deck as another explosion rocked the orbital platform. Through the viewport, he watched 3 more defense satellites break apart under enemy fire. Their debris scattered across the darkness like dying stars. "Commander, the eastern shield is down to 15%, someone shouted from below. Tay closed his eyes. 15%. They had started this battle at full capacity just 6 hours ago. Now the Velran Coalition's primary defense station was dying, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. The Draxim Empire had come without warning. No declaration, no demands, just violence. Their ships had appeared at the edge of Velran space like a spreading infection, and they had been killing ever since. The Velrans had no answer for this kind of brutality. They were scientists, diplomats, artists. War was something they read about in ancient history, not something they practiced. "Get me a channel to the communication center," Tay ordered. His voice sounded calmer than he felt. "We need to contact the Korthan Protectorate. Now." A young Velran named Illith looked up from her station. Her face was pale, her large eyes wider than normal. "Sir, I've been trying for the past hour. The Draxim are jamming all standard frequencies." "Then use the emergency beacon," Tay said. "The one that bypasses normal channels." Illith's fingers danced across her console. The emergency beacon was old technology, something installed decades ago when the station was first built. No one had ever needed to use it before. The system crackled to life and Illith began entering the distress message. Another explosion shook the station. This one was closer. Tay could smell something burning through the ventilation system. "Message sent, Commander," Illith reported. "But sir, something's wrong. The relay network is damaged. I can't confirm if the Korthans received it." Tay nodded slowly. It didn't matter now. They had done all they could. "How long until the Draxim breach our hull?" 20 minutes. Maybe less. 20 minutes until the end. Tay looked around the command center at his crew. They were all so young, so unprepared for this. The Velran people had enjoyed 10,000 years of peace. They had forgotten that the universe could be cruel. "Everyone, listen to me," Tay said, raising his voice above the alarms. "Initiate Evacuation Protocol 7. Get to the escape pods. That's an order." "What about you, sir?" Illith asked. "I'll stay until the last pod launches," Tay replied. "Now go." They hesitated, but only for a moment. Survival instinct won over loyalty, and the command center began to empty. Tay didn't blame them. He wanted to run too, but someone had to stay to buy them a few more minutes to make sure the distress signal kept broadcasting. The station groaned around him like a wounded creature. Through the viewport, he could see Draxim fighters circling like scavengers. They were taking their time now, savoring their victory. Tay sat down at the main console and pulled up the sensor readouts. The entire Velran defense fleet was gone. 17 ships destroyed in the opening hours of the battle. The orbital platforms were next. After that, the Draxim would move on to the colony worlds below. Billions of Velrans who had never known violence would learn what it meant to be conquered, unless the Korthans came. The Korthan Protectorate had been the Velran Coalition's ally for 3 centuries. Surely they would help. Surely they wouldn't abandon them. But doubt gnawed at Tay's mind. The Korthans were peaceful too, nearly as gentle as the Velrans themselves. What could they do against the Draxim war machine? The console beeped. Tay's head snapped up. Someone was emerging from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Multiple ships. Big One's hope surged in his chest. The Korthans had come. They had received the message after all. But as the sensor data resolved, Tay's hope turned to confusion. These weren't Korthan ships. The energy signatures were all wrong. The ship designs were completely unknown. The database had no match for them. More ships appeared, then more. An entire fleet materialized from FTL space with enough force to send shockwaves across every sensor in the system. Tay counted the contacts. 50 warships. No, 60. They kept coming. His console lit up with an incoming transmission. The language was unknown, harsh and clipped. Nothing like the melodic Korthan speech. The computer struggled to translate. "Attention unknown vessels, this is Captain Hay of the Terran Space Command ship Indomitable. We received your distress call. What is your situation, Terran?" Tay had never heard of them. He checked the database again. No results. These people weren't part of any known galactic civilization. "This is Commander Tay of the Velran Coalition," he transmitted back. "We are under attack by the Draxim Empire. Our defenses have failed. We sent a distress call to our allies, but... Who are you? Where did you come from? There was a pause. Then the voice came back and Tay heard something in it that made his skin prickle. It sounded almost amused. We're from Earth, Commander. Your message found us instead of your allies. We're here to help. Earth. Tay queried the database for that too. The results made his blood run cold. Earth was listed. But it wasn't listed as a homeworld or a colony. It was listed in the Forbidden Worlds database. Classification: Deathworld Class 12. The highest danger rating possible. The kind of planet where nothing should be able to evolve intelligence. The kind of planet that killed survey teams who tried to land there, and someone had not only survived there but built a civilization. Built a fleet. Commander Tay, are you still there? The voice asked. Tay's hand trembled over the console. They had called for help from their gentle allies. Instead, they had gotten the attention of something from a nightmare world. But the Draxim were still out there, still destroying what remained of the Velrun defenses. Tay had no choice. We're here, Captain Hay. We need immediate assistance. The enemy fleet is overwhelming us. Understood. Stand by, Commander. We're coming in. The Terran fleet began to move. Tay watched on his sensors as the unknown ships accelerated toward the battle at speeds that should have been impossible. They moved like predators, fast and aggressive, nothing like the cautious approach of civilized vessels. Tay realized he was holding his breath. They had asked for salvation. But looking at these ships, at the way they moved with such deadly purpose, he wondered if they had just invited something worse than the Draxim into their space. The command center door opened behind him. Ilith had returned. Commander, the escape pods are away. I came back to... What is that? She stared at the sensor display. I don't know, Tay admitted, but we're about to find out. The Terran fleet was almost upon them now. Through the viewport, Tay could see them with his own eyes for the first time. The ships were massive, covered in armor plating and weapons, scarred from countless battles. They looked like they had been designed by someone who understood violence on a level the Velruns couldn't comprehend. And somewhere on one of those ships were the beings called humans. The beings from the Death World Tay had never prayed before. His people had outgrown such things millennia ago, but as he watched those warships approach, he found himself hoping to any power that might listen that calling them here hadn't been a mistake. The docking bay doors opened with a hiss that made Commander Tay flinch. He stood with a dozen other Velruns waiting to meet their unexpected saviors. His hands were shaking and he couldn't make them stop. The Terran ships had driven off the Draxim attackers in less than an hour. It had been the most terrifying display of violence Tay had ever witnessed. The humans fought like nothing in the known galaxy, with an aggression and creativity that bordered on insanity, but they had won. The station was safe. Now Captain Hay was coming aboard with a diplomatic team. Tay had no idea what to expect. The first human stepped through the airlock and Tay's world tilted. They were tall, incredibly tall. Captain Hay stood nearly a full measure higher than the tallest Velran, and her frame was thick with dense muscle that rippled under her uniform. Her face was wrong too, arranged in a way that screamed predator, eyes facing forward for depth perception, strong jaw for... Tay didn't want to think about what those jaws were designed to do. She smiled, showing flat teeth in front and pointed ones in back. Omnivore dentition. The Velruns, all herbivores, instinctively stepped back. Commander Tay? Captain Hay's voice was deep and strong. Permission to come aboard? Tay had to force himself to speak. Granted, Captain. Welcome to what remains of our station. 5 more humans entered behind Captain Hay. They moved with a controlled grace that reminded Tay of hunting cats from the nature documentaries. Every motion was efficient, purposeful. These were beings built for survival. One of them, a woman with dark hair and quick eyes, stepped forward. I'm Lieutenant B, Xenocultural Liaison. I understand this first contact is unusual. We apologize for any alarm our appearance might cause. Alarm. That was a gentle word for the pure terror Tay felt looking at these creatures. You're from Earth, Tay said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Captain Hay confirmed. I understand that might concern you. Earth has a certain reputation in the galactic databases. Class 12 Death World, Tay whispered. The highest rating. No one survives Class 12 worlds, except you did, Lieutenant B nodded. We need to talk, Commander. There are things you need to understand about us before we proceed. May we use a conference room? Tay led them to the station's main briefing chamber. The room had been designed for comfort, with soft lighting and gentle colors. The humans made it feel small just by being there. They sat down carefully as if aware of their own strength. Captain Hay folded her hands on the table. "Commander, we came because we received your distress call. We didn't know you were expecting someone else. If you want us to leave, we will. But first we need to know what you're facing." "The Draxim Empire," Tay explained. "They're conquerors. They've taken 40 systems in the past century. They don't negotiate, they don't show mercy. They just take what they want." One of the humans, a muscular man with scars on his arms, spoke up. "How many ships do they have in this sector?" "Before you arrived, they had 200 warships surrounding our space. You drove off maybe 30 of them." The scarred man grunted. "So the rest will be back." "With reinforcements," Tay added miserably. "The Draxim don't accept defeat. When you humiliated them, you made yourselves targets too." "Let them come," Captain Hay said simply. The confidence in her voice was staggering. Tay stared at her. "You don't understand. The Draxim are the most powerful military force in this sector. They've crushed civilizations that had been spacefaring for thousands of years." "Commander," Lieutenant B said gently, "we need to explain something about humans, about where we come from." She pulled up a display screen and projected an image. It showed a blue and green planet, beautiful from orbit. Then she zoomed in and Tay's eyes widened. "This is Earth," Bai said. "Our gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. For reference, your homeworld has gravity of 4.2. We live under more than double your planetary pull every single day." Tay did the math in his head. Double gravity. That would crush a Velrun's bones over time. These humans lived in it from birth. "Our atmosphere is 21% oxygen," Bai continued. "Highly corrosive. Your people breathe 8% oxygen. To you, our air would be toxic." Another human spoke up, a woman wearing medical insignia. "I'm Medical Officer Rin. Perhaps I can explain our physiology." "Commander, do you know what persistence hunting is?" Tay shook his head. "It's how early humans hunted," Rin explained. "We would chase prey animals for hours, sometimes days. We couldn't outrun them in a sprint, but we never stopped. We never got tired. We chased them until they collapsed from exhaustion, and then we killed them." The words were so casual, so matter-of-fact. Tay felt sick. "We evolved as predators," Rin continued. "Our bodies are designed for combat and survival. Our bones are reinforced with calcium deposits that make them incredibly strong. We can survive injuries that would kill most species. We have redundant organs, backup systems for critical functions. Our immune systems fight thousands of microscopic battles every day just to keep us alive." "Why are you telling me this?" Tay asked weakly. Captain Hay leaned forward. "Because you need to understand what you've called into your space, Commander. We're not like your allies. We're not gentle. We're not peaceful by nature. We come from a world that tried to kill us every single day, and we survived by becoming very, very good at surviving." She paused, and her expression softened. "But we also learned something else. We learned to protect those who can't protect themselves. That's why we're here. Not because we love war, but because when someone calls for help, we answer." Tay looked around the table at these terrifying beings. "Can you really stop the Draxim?" "Commander," Lieutenant B said quietly. "The Draxim evolved on a low-gravity world with a thin atmosphere. They're physically weaker than us by an order of magnitude. They've never fought anyone who could match them in violence because no one else in this region evolved under harsh conditions." "But you did," Tay said. "We did," Captain Hay confirmed. "Earth made us hard, Commander. It made us strong and fast and resilient. We don't die easily. We don't break easily. And we definitely don't give up easily." Another human entered the room. A scientist by the look of his equipment. "Sorry I'm late, Captain. I was running initial environmental scans of the station." He looked at Tay. "Commander, I'm Dr. Na, xenobiology specialist. I have to ask, what temperature do you keep this station at?" 18 degrees standard, Tay replied. "That's about 18 Celsius for us," Dr. Na muttered, making notes. "Comfortable. We can work in this. Though it's a bit cool for long term, cool?" Tay repeated. "This is our optimal temperature. Humans are adaptable," Dr. Na explained. "We can survive in temperatures from well below freezing to extreme heat. Our homeworld has massive temperature variations. We're built to handle it." Tay slumped in his chair. Everything they told him just reinforced how alien these beings were. "How dangerous." "I know we frighten you," Captain Hay said. "I can see it in your body language. But Commander, we didn't come here to hurt you. We came to help." "Why?" Tay asked. "You don't know us. We're nothing to you. Why risk your lives for strangers? Captain Hay smiled again, and this time Tay tried not to see the predator in it. He tried to see the person. Because that's what we do, she said. Humans have a saying, no one gets left behind. When we heard your distress call, we didn't care that it wasn't meant for us. We just heard someone in trouble. She stood up, and the other humans followed. So here's what I propose, Commander. Let us help you. Let us fight the Draxim for you. We'll protect your people while you figure out what comes next. And maybe when this is over, we can be allies. Real allies. Tay stood as well, his legs still shaky. These beings terrified him. They were everything the Velrans were not. Violent and aggressive and built for combat. But they had come when called. They had driven off the Draxim, and they were offering protection without asking for anything in return. Admiral Jin is requesting a tactical briefing, Lieutenant B said, checking her communicator. He wants to coordinate with your remaining defense forces. I'll arrange it, Tay said. Then, because it needed to be said, thank you, Captain Hay. Thank you for coming. Thank us when it's over, Captain Hay replied. The Draxim will be back, and when they come, they're going to learn what it means to fight a species from a death world. As the humans filed out of the room, Tay sat back down. His hands were still shaking, but for a different reason now. They had called for help, and the universe had sent them Deathworlders instead of their gentle allies. Tay found himself hoping that would be enough. The Draxim war fleet arrived exactly 30 hours after the humans had driven them off. They came in force this time, with 300 ships arranged in perfect battle formation. Commander Tay watched from the observation deck as the enemy vessels took up positions around Velran space. They're confident, Admiral Jin said beside him. The human commander stood with his arms crossed, studying the enemy formation with calm eyes. They think numbers will win this, why won't they? Tay asked nervously. The Terran fleet numbered only 70 ships. They were outnumbered more than 4-1. Admiral Jin smiled. It was not a comforting expression. Commander, in human military history we have a saying, quantity has a quality all its own. But we have another saying too. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Tay had no idea what a dog was, but he understood the meaning. They're moving, Lieutenant Bai reported from the tactical station. Standard attack pattern. They're going to try to overwhelm us with massed fire. Let them try, Admiral Jin said. He activated the fleet-wide channel. All ships, this is Jin. Execute attack pattern Omega-3, show them what we've got. The Terran ships broke formation in a way that made Tay gasp. They scattered in what looked like complete chaos. Each ship heading in a different direction at speeds that should have torn them apart. The Draxim fleet hesitated, clearly confused by the tactic. That hesitation cost them. Commander Wan's fighter wing hit them first. 12 small craft screamed out of nowhere, moving at velocities that made Tay's eyes water. The fighters twisted and turned in patterns that defied physics, executing maneuvers that should have crushed their pilots under the G-forces. How can they move like that? Tay breathed. Humans can withstand up to 9 Gs with proper training and equipment, Lieutenant Bai explained. Most species black out at 3 or 4 Gs. It gives our pilots a significant tactical advantage. Wan's fighters tore through the Draxim formation like knives through cloth. They didn't fly in straight lines or predictable patterns. They moved like living things, adapting and reacting faster than the enemy could track. Draxim fighters tried to intercept them and died in brilliant explosions. Target their command ship, Admiral Jin ordered. Wan, clear us a path. On it, Admiral. Wan's voice crackled over the comm. All wings form up on me. We're going hunting. Tay watched in awe as the human fighters regrouped and dove toward the largest Draxim vessel. Point defense systems opened fire, filling space with deadly energy beams. The humans flew through it like it was nothing, dodging and weaving with reflexes that seemed superhuman. 3 fighters broke through and launched missiles at point-blank range. The Draxim command ship's shields flared and died, armor plating buckled, and then Sergeant Q's voice came over the channel. Boarding team ready, Admiral. We've got their shields down. Go, Jin said simply. A Terran assault ship accelerated toward the wounded Draxim vessel. Tay could see armored figures standing in the airlock, ready to board. The assault ship slammed into the enemy hull with enough force to make both vessels shudder. Boarding in progress, Q reported. His voice was steady, professional. Meeting resistance. They're dug in pretty good. Tay pulled up the internal sensors of the Draxim ship. What he saw made his blood run cold. The humans were fighting through the corridors like machines. The Draxim warriors were bred for combat, standing 2 meters tall with thick exoskeletons and multiple limbs. They should have been able to stop the boarders. But the humans were stronger. Sergeant Q led from the front, his armored suit making him look like some ancient war god. He moved through enemy fire with practiced ease, his weapon cutting down Draxim soldiers before they could react. Behind him, his team advanced in coordinated pairs, covering each other with military precision that spoke of countless battles. A Draxim warrior charged Q with a blade weapon. Q simply caught the warrior's arm and twisted. The sound of breaking exoskeleton came through the audio feed. The Draxim screamed and fell. Q stepped over him and kept moving. "They're not stopping," Tay whispered. "No," Lieutenant B agreed. "Humans don't stop. It's what we do best." The main battle raged around them. Admiral Jin had divided the Terran fleet into small groups that harassed the Draxim from every direction. The enemy tried to maintain formation, but the humans wouldn't let them. Every time the Draxim organized, another Terran ship would appear from an unexpected angle and tear through their lines. "They fight without honor," a Draxim communication broke through, directed at the human fleet. "You use tactics of cowards and scavengers." Admiral Jin laughed. It was a harsh sound. "You want honor? You attacked civilians. You came to conquer peaceful people who never hurt you. Don't talk to me about honor. We are the Draxim Empire. We have conquered 40 systems. You are nothing but primitives from an unknown world." "Yeah, about that," Jin replied. "We're primitives from a Class 12 death world. Do you know what that means? It means we evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every single day. We learned to fight by fighting everything around us. Predators, disease, weather, each other. We got very, very good at it." He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was cold as ice. "You picked the wrong species to mess with." The Terran ships pressed their advantage. Tay watched as human tactics overwhelmed Draxim strategy. The humans didn't fight fair. They attacked from unexpected angles, used the environment to their advantage, and adapted their approach constantly. Every time the Draxim thought they understood the pattern, the humans changed it. "Bridge secured," Sergeant Q reported. "We've got their captain. He's asking to negotiate." "Tell him we don't negotiate during battle," Admiral Jin said. "Tell him to order his fleet to stand down or we'll take them apart ship by ship." There was a long pause. Then Q came back on the line. "Admiral, you need to hear this. Their captain is claiming that their empire will send reinforcements. He says fighting us is pointless because they have thousands of ships." "Let me talk to him," Jin said. The channel switched and Jin's voice became conversational. "Draxim Captain, this is Admiral Jin. I'm going to explain something to you. Humans have fought wars that lasted years, decades. We've fought on frozen wastelands and burning deserts. We've fought in the vacuum of space and in crushing ocean depths. We've fought when we were outnumbered, outgunned, and out of options." Jin's voice hardened. "And we're still here. Still fighting. Still winning. So bring your thousands of ships. Bring your whole damn empire. We'll be waiting." The channel cut out. Tay looked at Admiral Jin with new eyes. This wasn't bravado. This was simple fact. These beings didn't know how to quit. "Enemy formation breaking," Lieutenant Bai reported. "They're retreating?" Tay couldn't believe it. The Draxim were withdrawing. Their perfect formation collapsed as ships began fleeing in all directions. The humans pursued, but they didn't destroy the fleeing vessels. They just made sure the enemy kept running. Within an hour, the battle was over. The Draxim fleet was gone, scattered to the stellar winds. They left behind 20 destroyed ships and 1 captured command vessel. The Terran fleet had lost 3 fighters and sustained minor damage to 2 cruisers. "Casualty report," Admiral Jin requested. 7 wounded, none critical," came the response. "Medical Officer Rin is treating them now. 7 wounded. Out of thousands of human soldiers, against an enemy that should have crushed them with numbers alone." Tay felt his legs give out. He sat down hard on the deck. "You won. You actually won." "Of course we won," Admiral Jin said, sounding surprised that Tay had doubted. "Commander, we told you. We're from Earth. Winning against bad odds is kind of our specialty." Lieutenant B helped Tay to his feet. "Are you all right, Commander?" "I don't know," Tay admitted. "I just watched you defeat a force that should have been impossible to beat. I watched your soldiers fight through enemy fire like it was nothing. I watched your pilots perform maneuvers that should have killed them. And you're acting like it's normal." "For us, it is normal," Bai said gently. "This is what we train for. What we're built for. Earth made us survivors, Commander. It made us fighters. We can't help being what we are. Admiral Jin turned to face Tay fully. But here's the important part, Commander. We're not conquerors. We didn't come here to take your territory or enslave your people. We came because you needed help. That's all? The Draxum will come back, Tay said. You humiliated them. They'll bring everything they have. Good, Jin replied. Let them. Every ship they send to fight us is a ship they're not using to hurt civilians. We'll keep their attention on us and your people can rebuild. Medical Officer Rin's voice came through the comm. Admiral, I need to report on the wounded Draxum we recovered from the boarding action. Go ahead, Rin. Sir, they're terrified. I've never seen anything like it. They keep asking if we're going to eat them. Several humans on the bridge laughed. Tay didn't find it funny. Treat them well, Admiral Jin ordered. Show them we're not monsters. Maybe they'll spread the word that humans can be reasoned with. Understood, sir. Also, they're asking about our healing capabilities. Apparently, they're shocked that our wounded are already recovering. Let them be shocked, Jin said with a smile. The more they fear us, the less likely they are to attack civilians. Tay walked to the viewport and looked out at the debris field. Somewhere out there, the Draxim fleet was running scared, carrying stories of the terrifying. The conference room was packed with representatives from every species in the Velran coalition. They had all heard about the human victory over the Draxim, and now they demanded to know more about these mysterious saviors. Commander Tay sat at the head of the table with Dr. Na standing beside a projection screen. Thank you all for coming, Tay began. I know many of you have questions about our new allies. Dr. Na has agreed to give us a comprehensive briefing on human biology and their homeworld. Dr. Na activated the display. An image of Earth appeared, rotating slowly. It looked peaceful from orbit, beautiful even, with blue oceans and white clouds. This is Earth, Dr. Na said, the human homeworld. Before I continue, I need to warn you. What I'm about to tell you will seem unbelievable. Some of it may be disturbing, but I assure you, everything I say has been verified through our interactions with the humans and their own scientific data. He zoomed in on the planet's surface. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. For those unfamiliar with the classification system, that's the highest danger rating possible. To put it in perspective, most spacefaring civilizations evolved on Class 1 or Class 2 worlds. Anything above Class 5 is considered too hostile for complex life. A Velran scientist raised her hand. How is Class 12 even possible? What makes it so dangerous? Everything, Dr. Na replied simply. He brought up a chart. Let's start with gravity. Earth's surface gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. The Velran homeworld has 4.2. The average for spacefaring species is around 5. Humans live there, entire lives under double our gravitational pull. The room erupted in shocked whispers. Dr. Na continued. This has profound effects on human physiology. Their bones are incredibly dense, reinforced with calcium to withstand the constant pressure. Their muscles are thick and powerful, just to move around in their normal environment. An average human can lift objects that would require industrial equipment for us to move. He pulled up an image of human skeletal structure. Their bones are also designed to be weapons. Hard knuckles for striking, thick skulls for protection, a jaw strong enough to bite through materials we would need tools to cut. Humans evolved from predators and their bodies never forgot it. What about their atmosphere? Another scientist asked. Oxygen content of 21%, Dr. Na said. Highly reactive, highly corrosive. It's what gives their planet its blue sky, but it's also toxic to most life forms. Humans breathe it from birth and their cells have adapted to use it for energy production at incredible efficiency. Engineer Yule, who had been working with human technical teams, spoke up. I can confirm this. I watched a human technician work in a damaged section of the station where oxygen levels had spiked to 19%. He didn't even notice. When I pointed it out, he said it was a bit thin and kept working. Dr. Na nodded. Humans can function in oxygen levels that would kill us or in levels so low we would suffocate. Their respiratory system is remarkably adaptable. He brought up weather data. Earth experiences extreme temperature variations. Their equatorial regions can reach 50 degrees Celsius. Their polar regions drop to -50. Humans live in both areas. They've built cities in deserts and frozen wastelands on mountainsides and valleys. They adapt. How? Someone asked. How can one species survive such varied conditions? Sweat, Dr. Na said. Humans have millions of glands all over their bodies that excrete water for cooling. It's called thermoregulation. They're one of the best endurance animals on their planet because they can run for hours without overheating. It's how their ancestors hunted, by chasing prey until it collapsed from heat exhaustion. The room fell silent. The image of humans as persistent hunters was terrifying. There's more, Dr. Na continued. Earth is tectonically active. The planet's crust is broken into plates that constantly move, causing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Humans built their civilizations knowing the ground could shake and tear apart at any moment. He showed footage of a volcanic eruption. This is Mount Vesuvius. It destroyed an entire human city called Pompeii, killed thousands. You know what humans did? They rebuilt nearby and turned the disaster site into a museum. They live with constant danger and just accept it as normal. A Velran counselor stood up, her voice shaking. This is madness. No species should be able to survive these conditions, let alone thrive in them. But they did, Dr. Na said quietly. And it gets worse. Earth has oceans covering 70% of its surface. These oceans contain predators called sharks, creatures that have existed for 400 million years, longer than humans have existed. There are whales, massive animals bigger than most of our spacecraft. There are microscopic organisms that can kill humans in hours. He pulled up more data. The land has predators too. Bears, big cats, wolves, venomous snakes, poisonous spiders. Even the plants can be deadly. Some produce toxins, some have thorns. Some can cause severe allergic reactions just by touching them. And humans learn to eat them, Engineer Yule added. I shared a meal with Captain Hay. She put something called hot sauce on her food. I asked what it was. She said it was made from plants that evolved to be painful to eat, to stop animals from eating them. Humans tasted them and decided they liked the pain. Dr. Na smiled grimly. That's actually a good example of human psychology. They actively seek out experiences that cause discomfort because it makes them feel alive. They have entire industries built around causing themselves fear and pain for entertainment. He showed images of human recreational activities. This is called skydiving. They jump out of aircraft and fall toward the ground at terminal velocity, trusting a piece of cloth to save them. This is rock climbing, where they scale vertical surfaces hundreds of meters high with minimal equipment. This is swimming with sharks, which is exactly what it sounds like. They're insane, someone whispered. No, Dr. Na corrected. They're adapted. On Earth, taking risks is how you survive. Being cautious means missing opportunities for food, shelter, or advancement. Their brains are wired to seek challenges. He brought up medical data. Let's talk about human healing. Their bodies can repair catastrophic damage. Broken bones knit back together, sometimes stronger than before. Cuts and wounds seal themselves within days. They can survive blood loss that would kill most species. They can function with damaged organs because many of their critical systems have backups. Medical Officer Rin entered the room, having been invited to provide expertise. I've been treating human wounded from the battle. The recovery rate is astounding. Injuries that would hospitalize a Velran for weeks have humans back on duty in days. Their immune systems fight off infections we would need heavy medication to combat. Are they immortal? A young scientist asked, half joking. No, Rin replied seriously, but they're incredibly hard to kill. I've reviewed their medical records. There are cases of humans surviving falls from extreme heights, exposure to extreme cold, even injuries from predator attacks. Their will to live is as strong as their bodies. Dr. Na pulled up the final piece of data. I saved the most important part for last. Earth has experienced 5 mass extinction events. 5 times life on that planet was nearly wiped out completely. The most recent was 66 million years ago when an asteroid struck the planet and killed most large animals. He let that sink in. Humans evolved in the aftermath of that catastrophe. They're the children of apocalypse survivors. Every instinct, every adaptation, every behavior is shaped by the knowledge that the world can end at any moment. And despite all of this, Tay said, standing up, they chose to help us. They could have ignored our distress call. They could have conquered us easily. But they came as friends. A Velran elder spoke, her voice thoughtful. Perhaps that's the most important adaptation of all. They learned that cooperation is stronger than individual survival. Exactly, Dr. Na agreed. Humans form pack bonds, social groups that work together. It's how they survived on Earth. A single human is dangerous. A group of humans working together is unstoppable. He turned off the display. I know this is a lot to process. These beings are unlike anything we've encountered. They're violent, aggressive, and built for warfare, but they're also loyal, protective, and driven by a strong moral code. Lieutenant B entered the room, having been listening from the doorway. If I may add something? Humans have a concept called honor among warriors. It means that those who can fight have a responsibility to protect those who cannot. Earth's harshness didn't just make us strong. It made us value life because we know how easily it can be lost. She walked to the center of the room.
Yes, we're Deathworlders.
Yes, we're dangerous, but we're also the ones who answer distress calls from strangers. We're the ones who fight for people we've never met because it's the right thing to do. Earth taught us to survive, but it also taught us to care for our pack. And now you're part of our pack. The room was silent for a long moment. Then the Velran elder stood and bowed her head to Lieutenant B. We are honored to be considered part of your pack, as you say. But I must ask, are all humans like this? Is your entire species so formidable? Every human grows up on Earth or in Earth gravity environments, Bai replied. Every human learns to survive from childhood. Every human carries the same adapt. The warning came 3 weeks after the first battle. A massive Draxum fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Velran space. This time they brought 500 ships. But more importantly, they brought the Crimson Legion. Commander Tay stood on the bridge of the human flagship, watching the sensor display with growing dread. What is the Crimson Legion? He asked Admiral Jin. According to our intelligence, they're the Draxum Empire's elite warriors, Jin replied. Studying the data, they've conquered 40 systems over the past 2 centuries. They don't lose, ever. The communication channel crackled to life. A harsh voice filled the bridge, speaking in Draxum battle cant. The translator worked overtime to convert it. This is Warmaster Vex of the Crimson Legion. You have interfered with the Draxum Empire's expansion. You have humiliated our forces. For these crimes, you will be destroyed. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Admiral Jin leaned back in his chair, completely relaxed. This is Admiral Jin of the Terran Space Command. We don't surrender, ever. If you want us, come and take us. Vex's laugh was like grinding metal. You primitives don't understand what you face. The Crimson Legion has never been defeated. We have broken armies, crushed fleets, and burned worlds. You will learn what it means to face true warriors. Looking forward to it, Jin replied and cut the channel. He turned to his crew. All right, people. They want a real fight. Let's show them what humans do when someone threatens our friends. He activated the fleet-wide communication. All ships, this is Jin. We're facing elite troops who think they're unbeatable. They've spent centuries conquering peaceful civilizations. They've never fought anyone who could hit back hard. Time to educate them. Authorize special tactics. Colonel Han, you're up. In the tactical center, Colonel Han smiled. He was an older human, gray-haired and scarred from countless battles. He had fought in what humans called the Titan Wars, conflicts that had shaped Terran military doctrine. Special tactics authorized, Han said. Implementing Strategy Alpha 7. All units, remember your training. The enemy expects conventional warfare. Give them chaos instead. The Crimson Legion fleet advanced in perfect formation. They had fought this way for centuries. Overwhelming opponents with coordinated firepower and superior numbers. It had always worked before. They had never fought humans before. The Terran fleet scattered. Not in retreat, but in a pattern that seemed random. Ships broke formation and headed in different directions, some toward the enemy, some away, some perpendicular to the battle space. The Draxum tried to track them and found it impossible. What are they doing? Vex demanded from his command ship. They have no formation, no strategy. Are they running? Sir, they're heading toward the asteroid belt, his tactical officer reported. Fools. We'll pick them off one by one. But the humans weren't running. They were setting a trap. Commander Wan's fighters hit first, emerging from behind asteroids at impossible speeds. They had hidden in the belt, their ships powered down to avoid detection. Now they struck like vipers, fast and deadly. The Crimson Legion fighters moved to intercept. They were good, well-trained, and experienced. But they had evolved on a low-gravity world. Their reflexes were sharp by their standards. They were fighting humans who had evolved under double gravity. To Wan's pilots, the Draxum fighters moved in slow motion. Target their engine sections, Wan commanded. Disable, don't destroy. Let's show them what fear feels like. The human fighters danced through space, executing maneuvers that should have been impossible. They pulled turns that generated 8, 9, sometimes 10 Gs of force. The Draxim pilots tried to follow and blacked out, their bodies unable to handle the stress. In minutes, 30 Crimson Legion fighters were floating dead in space, their pilots unconscious or worse. "This is impossible," Vex muttered. "No species can fly like that." "Sir, they're using the asteroids," his officer reported. "They're pushing them toward our formation." Han's plan was working. The Terran ships had positioned themselves behind large asteroids and were using their engines to accelerate the space rocks toward the enemy fleet. It wasn't elegant, but it was effective. The Draxim formation broke apart to avoid the incoming asteroids. In doing so, they exposed their flanks. Sergeant Q's boarding teams were waiting. "Go, go, go!" Q shouted as his assault ship latched onto a Crimson Legion cruiser. His team breached the hull in seconds, pouring into the enemy vessel like a flood. The Crimson Legion warriors were waiting for them. These weren't regular Draxim soldiers. These were elite troops trained from birth for combat, equipped with the best weapons and armor the Empire could provide. They died just as quickly as the regular soldiers. Q moved through the corridors like a force of nature. His armor absorbed hits that should have killed him. His weapons cut through Draxim armor like it was paper. Behind him, his team advanced with practiced precision, covering angles, securing positions, moving forward, always forward. A Crimson warrior, larger than the others and covered in honor markings, charged Q with a blade weapon. The warrior was fast, skilled, deadly. Q was faster. He caught the blade with his armored hand, twisted it out of the warrior's grip, and used it to cut down 2 other enemies. The honor-marked warrior stared in disbelief. "You're supposed to be the elite?" Q asked. "You should see our regular infantry." He knocked the warrior unconscious with a single punch and kept moving. On the bridge of his command ship, War Master Vex watched in growing horror as his forces were dismantled. The humans fought like nothing he had ever encountered. They used the environment, adapted to changing conditions, and showed no fear whatsoever. "Sir, they've breached decks 7 through 12 on the carrier," someone reported. "The warriors are falling back." "Falling back?" "The Crimson Legion doesn't fall back." "Send reinforcements." "Sir, we have no reinforcements." Every ship is engaged. The humans are everywhere. Vex pulled up the tactical display. His perfect 500-ship fleet was in chaos. Human ships appeared from impossible angles, struck hard, and disappeared before his forces could respond. His fighters were grounded, his boarding teams were trapped on their own ships fighting human invaders. And then Private Soul made her stand. She was young, barely 20 Earth years old, part of a defensive team guarding a critical junction on one of the Terran ships that had taken damage. A Crimson Legion boarding team had broken through, 30 elite warriors against Sol in her position. Her team had been forced to retreat. Sol stayed behind to buy them time. The Draxim advanced, confident in their numbers. Then they heard something that made them pause. Sol was singing. It was an old Earth song, something about standing firm against impossible odds. Her voice was clear and strong, echoing through the corridor. She stood alone at the junction, weapon ready, not giving a single step. The Crimson warriors charged. Sol opened fire. She held that position for 17 minutes. 17 minutes of continuous combat against trained killers who had conquered systems. She used every trick she knew, every corner for cover, every moment of reload time efficiently. When her weapon ran dry, she used her sidearm. When that ran out, she used her knife. When her team returned with reinforcements, they found Sol still standing, surrounded by unconscious or wounded Draxim warriors. She had a dozen injuries, but she was still singing. The footage went viral across the galactic net, not because of the violence, but because beings across the galaxy watched a young human hold a position alone against impossible odds while singing the entire time. "What are they?" Vex whispered, watching the recording. "What kind of species produces warriors like this?" Admiral Jin's voice came through on a direct channel. "The kind that evolved on a death world, War Master. The kind that learned to survive by never giving up, never backing down, never accepting defeat. You wanted to fight the humans? Congratulations. Now you know what that means." The battle lasted 6 hours. At the end, the Crimson Legion was broken. Not destroyed, but broken in spirit. 300 ships retreated in disorder. The rest surrendered. War Master Vex was found in his command chamber by the boarding team that captured his ship. He was sitting on the floor staring at nothing, repeating the same words over and over. "They don't stop. They never stop. How do you fight something that never stops? Medical Officer Rin treated the wounded from both sides. The Crimson Legion warriors stared at her with something like awe as she worked on their injuries. "Why are you helping us?" one warrior asked. "We tried to kill you." "Because you're wounded," Rin replied simply. "That's enough reason for me. But we're your enemies." "You were," Rin corrected. "Now you're just people who need medical help. That's how humans see it." The warrior was silent for a long time. Then quietly, "We have fought for centuries, conquered 40 systems. We thought we were the strongest warriors in the galaxy." "You're strong," Rin agreed. "Just not as strong as you thought." "Nobody is." Commander Tay watched the aftermath of the battle from the observation deck. The Crimson Legion, the supposedly unbeatable elite of the Draxim Empire, had been defeated by humans who treated war like it was just another problem to solve. Lieutenant B joined him at the viewport. "Are you okay, Commander?" "I'm trying to process what I just witnessed," Tay admitted. "Your people just defeated the most feared military force in this sector.